Is the U.S. in a recession? The economy just shrank again, according to new numbers out this morning. Thanks for joining us at 6 a.m. I'm Chris Groh, in for Eric Connor.
And I'm Neda Iranpour. So glad to have you here with us. Now, the U.S. economy shrank at a 0.9% rate. That's from the month of April through the month of June. This follows a 1.6% drop last quarter. 2 consecutive negative quarters for that gross domestic product, which is how this is measured, are traditionally seen as an indication that our economy is in a recession. However, this is not the official definition of a recession. The official determination depends on a broader set of data. Economists note the job market is still strong right now and wages are up.
And more news impacting your money this morning. The Federal Reserve raised its key interest rate target by 0.75 of a percentage point for the second time in as many months. The central bank is trying to fight inflation by slowing spending. Dan Lieberman reports.
The Federal Reserve's hefty rate hike is aimed at giving Americans a break from inflation levels last seen during President Reagan's first term in office.
A dozen eggs is like $5 now, compared to like last year being $2.
Boston area grocery store owner Chris Waller says he can't offer shoppers the kind of sales he used to.
We used to get deals from the vendors where we'd be able to offer these boxes for $1 each, so 10 for $10. But now it's 4 for $5.
After the Fed announced it's raising its benchmark interest rate by 0.75 of a percentage point, Chairman Jerome Powell said he'll keep working to bring down inflation.
We understand how painful it is, particularly for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and spend most of that paycheck on necessities such as food and gas.
The Fed's move will raise its key rate, which affects many consumer and business loans, to a range of 2.25% to 2.5%, its highest level since 2018.
People who have adjustable rate mortgages, when the adjustment comes, it's probably going to adjust higher.
Wall Street, badly battered so far this year, rallied yesterday amid investor hopes the Fed will begin to ease its war on inflation, which could end up sparking an economic slowdown. But Chairman Powell said another big rate hike could be necessary when the Fed meets again in September. Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
Now, coming up at 6:30, we will sit down with a financial expert to talk about what the Fed's latest rate hike means for you.
This morning, the future of Friendship Park gets back in the spotlight. Plans to build 2 new walls through the park will, in fact, move forward following a Border Patrol meeting with community members.
CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live at San Diego Border Patrol Sector Headquarters in Chula Vista with the very latest. Good morning, Dana Marie.
Good morning, Chris. And Neda, advocates of Friendship Park we spoke to say they're absolutely devastated because this is a place loved ones can meet if they're meeting across the border. Now, that plans for 2 30-foot walls will eliminate those visits.
Please, now's the time for us to draw a line in the sand and fight for Friendship Park. Fight for the idea that friendship is the best security that we can have.
For those not familiar with Friendship Park, it represents the relationship between U.S. and Mexico. The park in Imperial Beach shut down before the pandemic, and now Friends of Friendship Park says its future is looking bleak. Border Patrol plans to follow through with its plan to replace the 2 18-foot walls and fence with walls that are 30 feet high. In the past, the park had a pedestrian gate that allowed for short visits. Loved ones separated by the border could meet up. Now, park advocates say they're not going to give up. They're asking for a 20-day pause on construction to give time to consult with local leaders and organizations because the future plans include a pedestrian gate moved farther from the beach, and it's really unclear if people will have access to it. Now, why is this all happening? Well, Border Patrol says they're unable to sustain a commitment to staffing that gate, and U.S. border authorities say the current structure that extends into the ocean was not properly treated to withstand corrosion before it was installed. And now the Trump administration's project to replace it with a taller wall does need to continue. Of course, friends, the Friendship Wall are definitely holding out hope that something changes, that pedestrian gate is accessible because they just want to keep that open for loved ones to visit each other. I'm Dana Marie McNichol coming to you live from Chula Vista.
Dana Marie, thank you so much for that. And now this morning, crews are making sure the Kastner fire east of Ramona does not flare up again. So this was the scene just after noon yesterday. We were bringing it to you live as it was happening with this Chopper 8 footage. Between Ramona and Santa Isabel, you see where those flames started spreading. It's the same area where the Witch Creek fire burned back in 2007. Some people had to leave their homes before this fire got contained.
I got some things ready, you know, paperwork and the important documents.
Throwing the world at it, doing what we can. This fire continued to grow, ordered more aircraft, ordered more ground resources, and eventually got this fire stopped at 180 acres.
Incredible that they were able to stop the spread. It went from 20 acres to 150 acres within a 2-hour time frame. Remember, we're still in peak fire season. Look how dry it is around there. Officials urge you to have an evacuation plan.
And this morning, unionized pharmacy workers are demanding further negotiations with their employers after rejecting a contract offer. Workers with Ralph's, Vons, Albertsons, and Pavilion say that they are upset over what they call unfair staffing, scheduling, and wages. Approving the deal would have avoided a strike. Their union, though, says that they are asking the companies to return to the table immediately. And today is the second of 2 meetings over privacy concerns in Chula Vista. Now, some residents worry about the invasion of their privacy over a police drone program. Law enforcement are attempting to be transparent by giving people the chance to express their opinions in these meetings. The meeting is going to be held at the Otay Ranch Branch Library from 6 to 7:30. And new this morning, JetBlue has agreed to buy Spirit Airlines for $3.8 billion. This comes a day after both airlines had planned to abandon their proposal. The merger would create the country's 5th largest carrier. Federal regulators still need to approve the deal. And today marks a new push to honor local black hair care pioneer Will Morrow.
Now this morning, a local group is unveiling their push to rename Morrison Street to Will Morrow Way. Morrow passed away last month at the age of 82. He started as a barber in 1959, setting up along Market Street near 42nd here in San Diego. Morrow owned the California Curl Company. Now it created the Jerry Curl. Now Morrow's company also popularized the Afro pick here in the U.S. after he said in an interview that a friend from Nigeria gave him one. He wanted to spread it to the Western world, and he certainly did.
Yeah. Truly incredible man, legacy, and it's really great to see him honored in different ways.
Yeah, so we'll keep you posted on this morning's efforts to rename a local street here. Let's check in now with Evan. Hey. A cloudy start.
Yeah, again. I know. We were hoping for a little bit of a clearer start, but those clouds, between, the time that we get in and sunrise, a lot can change. So although we did actually have some decently clear conditions, we've now seen that marine layer drift onshore, and that means partly cloudy skies by the time we get to about 8, 9 a.m. And then beyond that, we'll start to move toward more sunshine. So we do have sunshine, at least in the forecast, but we're hanging on to some of those clouds along the coast. The farther you are from the coastline, the more you're in sunny territory. 85 is the forecast high inland, 84 across the mountains, 74 along the coastline. Not a strong potential today for any monsoonal moisture, thunderstorm activity, anything like that. Staying pretty dry, but by the time we get to tomorrow, we start to see an uptick in humidity, and that'll mean that moisture will be readily available for showers and thunderstorms, possibly even west of the mountains for Saturday and Sunday. Walking out the door right now, it's 6:09 on the clock, and it is 58 degrees in Ramona, 60 degrees in Poway, 68 in San Diego, and 65 in Encinitas. Moving through the next couple hours, we're going to see very little change. So what we saw yesterday is going to be very similar to what we see today. The 24-hour temperature change is maybe 1 to 2 degree different than 24 hours ago, and that's likely going to be the same case as we head into your afternoon for today, as well as the next couple days to come. So we'll talk more and take a look at the 8-day forecast coming up, but not a ton of change as far as your temperatures go. We're looking at more of a change as far as your conditions out there go, with an increase in thunderstorm activity and shower potential going into the weekend. As far as traffic goes, at 6:09, nothing too crazy going on the roads right now. So far, we've seen very mellow conditions there. Looks like we just saw one crash pop up. I'm going to head over to the computer, see what we got going on there. That's just around the Coronado area, so it looks like we are starting to see some some activity popping up there just around the Coronado Bridge. And as you can see, mid-span, you're starting to see those speeds slow down. And really just as you get over toward the Coronado area, slow lane is blocked there across the bridge. That is just before Glorieta Boulevard. So that's causing some backups there for likely a lot of the people who are trying to get over to base right now. And you can see how speeds are down to the single digits. Let's see how slow they are. Yep, 15 miles per hour right now over the Coronado Bridge. So expect some slower speeds in that area. Back to you.